Somebody mail the hood post, man. You know that vibe. Go ahead and retweet that vibe. Today, again, we're still talking about relationships and the importance of relationships. And I'm going to give you guys a bit of history and some good information. That way you can go back and fact check me and do whatever you need to do as far as what I'm about to tell you. First, let me start off like this here. Wisdom Wednesday, okay? My home is not a cage, nor is it my habitat. I was created to be in the open environment. Even if my master painted the cage of solid gold, I would never accept the existence of being in a cage. You can go ahead and retweet that vibe. Okay, let's get to it. 1985, County Jail was the creation of the C.C.Rider. Not 87, not 88, not 86, 1985. And it came about in the Los Angeles County Jail, and it was 4,800. And the person that initiated was a guy by the name of Marcellus. And Marcellus tapped in with Baby Gangster, which is my homeboy, and it was like this. Our alliance, I'm talking about Compton Crips, our alliances to one another were stronger under one umbrella. And how you know this is because, let's push back a little further. Let's go back to 1972, when the Grandies came about. And Marcellus was there as well. See, the Grandies knew that their strength and their alliances came together because all the Compton Crips in Compton were a part of the Grandies. The Grandies was a stronghold for all Compton Crips. So therefore, whether you're from Mona Park, Carver Park, Oaks Park, South Park, whatever part, if you was from Front Hood, if you was from Palmer Block, you know, or if you was from Lantana, wherever you was from during that time, Atlantic Drive, of course, neighborhood. Well, neighborhood was Panhandle Boys back then. Anyway, everyone knew in Compton that the Grandies was a stronghold for all Compton Crips. So let's take it back up to 85. So Marcellus realized one thing, that if he brought back that same structure into the county jail, we'd be formidable. We'll be strong, we'll be resilient, and we'll be stern. We were like the Autobots. When trouble arises, we came together. Because of the cognitive understanding that he had about structure and alliances, we're able to become. See, because when you go into the county jail, let me start off by saying this. When you go into the county jail and you're from Compton, you don't say you're from Santana. You don't say you're from Nutty. Although that stuff comes up. You don't say you're from Farm Dogs. You don't say you're from Palmer. You don't say you're from the South. You don't say you're from Land Drive. You say Compton Crip. Compton Crip. And that's how we were able to maintain our status. And we was like, it was like one nation under a groove. You understand? So when you look at the LA car, see, the LA Crips had dysfunction amongst them long before Compton ever did. Compton was like this. You mess with one Compton dude, man, you got to deal with all of us, regardless of where he's from in Compton. You know, that's just the way we were taught. That's just the way our mindset was, and it was brilliant. If you really think about it, we didn't want to be like. And you can use this as an example, man. It was like for us, by us, but at the same time, Ask not what you can do for Compton. Ask not what Compton can do for you, but what you can do for Compton. It was a justification. You understand? It was in contrast. You know, that we were motivated in a way that we understood that our power lied in alliances. So in the 4800, they had the Hoover car, they had the East Coast car, and they had the 60s, they had the Long Beach, you know what I mean? All these different cars. But it was only the Compton Crips that stood together, because the Hoovers might not have got along with the Raymonds. The Raymonds might not have got along with the East Coast. You follow what I'm saying? Those are all LA Crips, and not all of them got along. But as for Compton, man, it was one aim, one mission, one word, 2 words actually, Compton Crip. And this is not a glorification. This is just a history for those who like to be informed about this stuff, who may be underinformed based on other individuals who put out information that don't necessarily give its essence in its true description. One of the things that I always did when I was going in there, man, people would introduce themselves, you know what I mean? And one cat told me he was crazy, and one cat told me he was, knucklehead. I'm just using those names, and they don't necessarily belong to you. But you have to understand that anytime anybody introduces you themselves with those names, those are only interpretations. Interpretations of who the character is that gave you the name. And you have to understand that, because you got to put that person in a category. Now, there's only the people, and I'm saying all that to say this, like Marcellus. He's always been known as Marcellus. You always have to be careful of any individual that just use their name. They ain't got no made up name. Therefore, that person is out there. That person is on the front line. That person is in some type of leadership capacity or some type of direction. You understand? That means he has structure. You understand? And good dude, you know what I mean? Great dude right there. And I speak to him right to this day. And hopefully one day I can get him up on one of these interviews. But going back to 4800, 4800 was so chaotic, and there were so many things, so many moving parts, so many people claiming this and that, even people coming up in there that didn't necessarily belong to a neighborhood or anything, but like live in. If you just lived in the neighborhood, don't go to 4800. Don't go to 4800. Nobody's going to protect you there. You understand? You have to really be about that life. You have to have that same energy, man. You can't come in there with the, with the mild and meek mannerisms. You have to be right there, man, because it's right there, man. Remember, I talked to you about the lion and the tiger may be more powerful, but the wolf never performs in the circus. You understand? So 4800 was like a 3-ring circus, man. But it was very dangerous. It was volatile. It was at times mystifying and very deceptive. Very deceptive. My first trip there, I was placed in a cell with Dwight Niblett, which was Big Dwight. Then there was Crazy Poke, Gangsta Brown, a couple of, I don't remember who the other, Booker T. Booker T and Crazy Poke for Fire Deuce. There's one more person I couldn't remember. But anyway, I get into it with Gangsta Brown. Gangsta Brown from A-Troy Gangsters. I'm from Santana. But I'm a Compton Crip, you understand? But quickly, Dwight Niblett being from A-Troy Hoover, and they at that time they was allied to A-Trays or whatever, he understood that the significance of him, Gangsta Brown, getting into it with me might be Not the right thing to do. Let me put it in that context. Not necessarily the right thing to do. Although we shook hands and we put, just my bad, whatever, boom, boom, cool. We good. You know what I mean? Nothing ever happened. But I'm saying out to say this. Once we got into it, I remember Dwight said, man, Marcellus and he mentioned gangster's name. They the dog callers on the road. And I asked him, who was that? Just to test him, see what is that. He said, come on, man. But anyway, I revealed that, you know what I mean? I knew what he was talking about and what he was saying, you know what I mean? And everything was worked out. Everything worked out for his better half. So here's another example of how 4800 worked. My homeboy, Rockman, he comes to 4800. Comes out, he's a little burnt out or whatever, and he enters, and a couple of cats was hitting him up, but he didn't tell him where he was from, and they tried to test him, and he introduced them to a whole lot of bullshit that day, but see, that's the underestimation of individuals, you know what I mean, because you got cats that approach you on some bullshit, man, and you really don't, you be trying to shine it on, but at the end of the day, you challenge it. You take it on headstrong, man. Once everybody realized that he was from Santana, everything, you know what I mean? Then now people want to, change their position and everything, and they want to try to make amends or a treaty, so to speak, because there wasn't really no sort of like worming out of shit like that, you know what I mean? Because it was very intense up in there, you know what I mean? But I just wanted to let you know, man, that that was relationship, man. Those relationships withstood time. Those relationships that back then, from the 70s all the way up to 85, where the C.C.Riders car was instituted and instrumental and all of the Compton Crips being under one umbrella. We didn't have all the chaos and misinformation and people that suffer from information malnutrition. We was highly informed, we was educated, we was reading. It was like for real, it was like being in the CCO or the Blue Machine or something to that order. You know what I mean? That's just the structure of it, you know what I mean? Of course, Rockhead was there when he came through. He did all this disciplinary shit, had people in there exercise and different stuff. Turtle ran his situation as well, you know what I mean? Other cats from Compton, you know what I mean? And they did their thing, but we were still just one thing. We was Compton Crips, man. And we survived the circumstance. Nobody really wanted to challenge us. Don't get me wrong. There was times when people just say, hey, man, I want to go head up with such and such. And, you had to take that fade, But it was rare where you seen dudes came against a Compton in 3 or 4 and it only be one Compton. That just didn't happen. That wasn't going to happen. And hope you guys are enjoying your day. Be sure to get my likes up. Click the bell. Make a comment, be sure to press like, man, and get my likes and subscribers up, man. What's wrong with y'all? Y'all really, I don't think y'all like these stories, you know what I mean? Even though I don't give a whole lot of gut and glory and blood, I don't like that because it's not necessary to share all that stuff. What I want to share is, is us building relationships, us helping one another, being there for one another, and forming alliances under one umbrella to show the youngsters this day and time that they can also do it too. They just got to be willing to step up to the table and meet the challenge. Professor Melly Mill, the Hood Postman, you know that vibe. I'm out.